Welcome back to the Shift Drunk Podcast. I'm your host Noah,
Recording?
and we are playing some Fortnite tonight. How's everybody doing?
Welcome to the Fortnite video.
I'm doing swell.
All right, so what are we talking about?
Don't know.
Well, we've been talking about
Just a
Warzone
quick
for the past,
update.
few minutes.
Just
What's
a
the
quick update. Cause crypto crash. Hell yeah.
Rough, actually.
But basically, we were kind of talking before, or maybe I don't know how long we've been recording, so maybe not. But we were talking how a lot of this crash is mostly just the people who got in really late getting scared. There's data that shows that the people that hold Bitcoin and all these other cryptos long term are actually accumulating more. So I don't know what that says about how long lived the crash will be. I mean, crypto got hyped up pretty big. Even like stocks got hyped up pretty big. So you don't know how many people are in it that are super nervous or super shaky, not really committed long term.
I was thinking of buying more because of this big dip.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I mean, this seems like a really good time to buy, especially
Yeah.
with Ethereum being under like.
And it will only get
2,000.
better if it keeps going down.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Well,
I'm
like,
hoping it
I'll open up my wallet and I'll be like, oh,
a little
damn,
bit more.
it's like gone down another $50, and I'm like, okay, there's my fucking savings. Like, but other than that, it's like a good time to buy.
Yeah.
If you have the money to just like spare, like if you're willing to like watch this money just literally disappear, then you.
You're a little quiet, by the way.
Sorry, my mic's right here. But if you're willing to like throw this money in and watch it like disappear for at least like a little bit, you're gonna see a little bit of gain eventually. Just know that you're gonna have a few sleepless nights wondering if your money's like being.
Well, you
put
just
the right
have to
place.
forget about it. Just pretend
Yeah.
you just threw the money away. It's
Yeah,
not
I
even
mean that's what
worth
I'm saying is like
fretting
like
about
you
it,
have to
yeah.
like essentially like gamble it away essentially. Like
Mhm.
you might not get this money back at all.
Right.
I think for the most part, as long as you're holding on to it, not selling, you will get the money back. But in your like mentally, in order to actually get to the point where you are making gains, you have to mentally tell yourself, I threw the money away. It's not my
Mhm.
money anymore. I don't have it. It doesn't even exist. You
It's
know.
Yeah.
Dogecoin's money now.
That's what it was interesting. I read an article by a dude who's like he wanted to get into it, and his dad said, well, the dude kind of wanted to run an experiment, and he had a portfolio that he actively managed, and then he had a portfolio that he never touched. And he in his mind, his hypothesis was the one that he actively managed would be doing better because he would be like a gardener and constantly be preening and weeding out the bad stuff and reevaluating and fixing what needs to be fixed. But what ended up happening was the one that he just shit all his money into and then never fucking looked at again outperformed his one that he actively managed by like 2-3 times.
Right.
And that kind of gets into if you let your mentality get in the way of some of this. Most people, and I'll say we are because, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we're not smart enough to day trade.
No.
We don't know enough about the market to day trade, and we don't have enough money to day trade either.
Day
And
trading is classified at like what 25 grand or more per day, right? That's what day trading.
I don't remember the
I know
exact
there's a
definition.
legal classification.
Sorry,
but
that was Cash App's limit on how much it would be considered day trading, I believe. Like I think there's certain apps may be considered more, but I think like at least Cash App's limit for day trading was 25 grand or more per
I think
day.
it depends. Isn't it number of transactions
probably.
I actually
in
hit
a single day?
I hit a
think.
max amount of transactions once, and I had only done 2.
Right, but
So
that
that-
was weird. I think
Yeah,
I
that
remember
was
you
we- I-
talking about that. That's not technically supposed to happen.
I just have weird luck with my like apps and money. I think it's my credit union.
Let's put
Which
it this
one?
Oh,
way,
yeah.
okay? If you make or are dealing with $25,000 a day
You're either a drug dealer or a stock trader.
over a year, that's $9 million that you
Fuck.
had your money or hands on at any point. I'm not saying that you gain that because day trading is
That could be the same
sketchy, but-
25 grand throwing around, or it could be you've been throwing in 25 grand a day. Who knows? That'd be like, I can't imagine right now, like just thinking like I'm gonna throw 25 grand in every single day, and then like hope for the best. Like I don't know. That's like a gamble to me. That's
But
almost just like throwing
basically,
away money in my
Oh, that's not what
perspective.
I'm
what
saying.
I was is kind of what I was getting at is the average person can't day trade and shouldn't try to. So if you're in
That's
a
a
position right now where you have money and you're losing like 50% of your value, maybe even got in at like when Bitcoin was at like what 64,000, something crazy like that, hold on to it,
Yeah.
obviously, because it's better to lose something that you still own than take a loss on something that you no longer own, because at some point it'll hit that point again. We've seen it happen so many times with Bitcoin, especially. And if you're going to get into crypto, or even any market for that matter, just be prepared for a lot of this, and you
yeah.
can't and you
Yeah.
can't be looking
Okay.
at it. You can't be
A
stressing
question.
out about it.
Something that I've been thinking about is so I've been wondering, so crypto's had a big boom since COVID's happened, and I'm
Mm.
worried that maybe like so I have two scenarios here. And this is also like to do with like podcasting, YouTube, TikTok, etc., like all internet stuff. Do you
Mm.
think when the real world opens again and people start offering higher pay to come back, that kind of stuff, are you going to see a decline in use of crypto and a decline in like YouTube content, podcasts, like our stuff, like that
I
we're
don't know.
doing right now?
I don't
Um,
think so.
to
I
the
was kind of
point that
hoping for an
it's
increase, actually.
an increase. Well, I think it depends. I'm invested in Roblox, so some context for that. It dipped a little bit recently because Roblox came out with some numbers that their active users had decreased slightly, and the amount that their active users are spending had also decreased slightly. So obviously, people aren't spending as much time locked up in their houses anymore. So I'm sure you'll get a little bit of decrease.
That
But
could
for the
also
most part,
plateau as well.
what?
Like the amount of people using might like either like go up and plateau or go down and plateau again.
Right, sure. Um,
Yeah.
but like, will the decrease be detrimental, especially with something like crypto? I don't think crypto is going to get to the point where it's like less popular than it was 3 4 years ago. Like, I think it's hit a point where it's like it's up here, it'll go down a little bit, a correction, which we're seeing, and then it'll kind of stay around here for a little bit, and it'll do its thing like any market will. um
It'll go back up a bit because more people hear about it, then it'll go back
right.
down. What I'm worried about though is like, okay, what I'm kind of trying to get at is like, what if people don't like get out of crypto, but what if they like forget about their money, and like it just like one day like everyone just like realizes like, oh hey, crypto still exists. Then they either like just sell it all because like, oh I have like a couple grand here just sitting here, like I'm just gonna sell all my money right now, and then there might be just be like an even bigger spike down again.
So this is what Ron just pulled up. This is crypto, Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin's history. This is all time, right?
Mm-hmm.
From what I can tell.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So most markets, when you take the average and you look at it kind of zoomed out, they just go up.
Well, and this is adjusted to the baseline being about $9,000. So it
Oh
doesn't look
shit.
as large, but you go to year to date. All you can see that the 9K is about down here. So
Yeah,
you're
I
missing out on the
remember
rest of that.
I bought in at 7K. I bought in. That was like 2 years ago, or was that 3 years ago? Probably closer to 3 years now, because that's about the time that I started working at Culver's. I downloaded Cash App and Robinhood, because fucking who was it that? Do you guys remember? He fucking
How,
told me to
how
download.
could we forget?
Exactly, who can forget? But he gave me like the free gift thing on Robinhood and then taught me how to use Cash App a little bit. And I bought like $50 in Bitcoin, but I didn't know how to hold. I was just like I bought in and I lost like $30 and I was like, "Oh, well this kind of sucks." So I just like bought out, but I didn't know to like hold cuz like I think like maybe a year later it went up to the 56K and I would have had probably like a couple hundred in return maybe from like
Mm.
7K to like 60K.
Yeah,
And I
for
kind of
sure.
Well,
regret not holding that a bit honestly
yeah,
cuz that
because
would have
its
been a sick
all-time
growth.
high of 63, 64 was April this year.
Yeah,
Hit
so that just kind of
55
gets into what I was
February.
saying and what a lot of popular wisdom says is if you're a person who gets nervous about huge fluctuations or frequent fluctuations, don't look at it. Turn off the notifications. Don't look at it. Pretend it doesn't exist. Pretend it's in a savings account, right? Like, because you never think your savings account is fluctuating. So think of this, if you're holding long term, think of this as like a savings account that you don't even care about because nothing bad's happening.
You're just throwing
That's
money into it and nothing's gonna change type thing, right?
right. So like you should totally think that, because it helps too with selling too like prematurely, right? Like if you had that 7K, or sorry, if you had that $50 and it went up to like 9K and you made like $5-10, you could be like, oh, sweet, you know? But if you're holding it long term and you pretend that it's not fluctuating, you can sell at 64, right? Or whenever you need it further down the line.
Fucking
So it just
spider
kind of what's up?
Fuck, I didn't kill it.
Why do you have a lighter?
Because he's going to use it. But yeah. I bought some Safe Moon today because what is its current price?
Oh, I
156.
actually have
I
a
bought it
question
like
about
2.9.
So, Ron, this is for you because you use Trust Wallet. Trust Wallet took D-apps off my phone. Is that just like for an
That's
iPhone
gonna be
thing?
an iPhone issue, yeah.
Okay, so I'll just have to like keep redoing it then, like they caught it or whatever.
Potentially.
Okay, I'll try that. Cause like
I
right now I can't
bought
access my Safe Moon. Like I can access it, but I can't like buy it or sell it right
Yeah.
now. Kind of sucks.
I bought around here today. So that's 2.9 instead of 3.1. And that's the same price as it being about here. So
you bought below the initial hype.
yeah. Well, because there's that
is-
little dip today. And then if you go to the month,
Oh, let me tell you guys about my losses real
A
quick.
month,
So
so-
my highest point my wallet's been was at about 370.
yeah.
It's at 270 now.
$100.
It's
Yeah,
okay. You want to see my losses?
probably a lot more because you have a lot more, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I don't know if I want to see yours. I might get a panic attack from that actually.
You want to hear mine?
No.
Not just sharing.
Not technical
You wanna hear
losses.
mine?
I don't know. Fuck it. Let's just all share fucking cocks right
So
now.
I can't show you on my phone, but like off the top of my head, I think around
You see that?
$800.
$800 loss. Is that what it? What's your loss, Ron?
So, $5,090 was the peak, and I think now I'm sitting at around 2,000. So technically lost that on 3,000 there, but I'm holding these for the long term. I bought
Safe Moon and Pathfinder.
more
right?
Safe Moon. What was the date on this? I could figure out how much it would be worth if the market hadn't moved, because I did get some more for cheap. But yeah, so that was fun.
Or did you guys hear
Info.
about the what's his name?
2.9.
The 33-year-old dude who was a Dogecoin millionaire and he hasn't sold. And he's like, he put out a tweet that says, if I can hold or hodl, I forget the like the dumb spelling of it or whatever.
Oh, hodl. Oh,
Yeah, he's
God.
like, if I can hodl, you can hodl or whatever.
What is
It's
the
pretty
hodl
funny.
thing from? Is that just like a meme?
It's
Wall
just
Street bets.
a misspelling of hold.
Yeah.
I see that all over Reddit. That's
It's like the diamond hands, paper hands stuff.
hodl.
Wow.
Okay, yeah.
Wait a minute.
I don't know. We should probably get off the topic of crypto because we do talk about this every episode. But just as like
Fun,
to
though.
round up the topic, hodl your coins, guys. Hodl your coins. It's gonna be okay. We'll get through it. The
We'll get
war
through
is
it
almost
together.
over. Everybody just holds hands and sing kumbaya.
Kumbaya,
rich men can't take our
my
money.
lord.
The rich men won't take our money. Anyway, what are we gonna talk about? What's the next topic? I think we're talking about Warzone a bit. I kind of want to talk about video games a bit because we don't really talk about video games enough as like gamers. Because I know we're trying to make money, and it's always good to like talk about making money. But I just want to talk about fucking killing like fucking animated shit or pixelized shit sometimes.
Oh,
And today,
never mind.
I don't want to know what you're thinking. Today I was playing CS:GO while like listening to the podcast to make sure I don't like edit anything out, and I was offing. I was just fragging out today, just totally just fucking offing these kids, and like we gotta play some competitive CS:GO now. You know, I'm ranked. We're all
Yeah.
ranked.
I'm not
And
ranked.
I'm not gonna take it seriously at all, but we should totally play some competitive CS:GO to stream it, just to
Oh
like
my
have some fun. It'll be fun. We can mess with our
Bruh.
teammates.
I can kill you.
Yes, you can get kicked for 30 minutes to a day. Who knows?
Did we talk about that?
There's been a
I don't
few
think-
times.
Did we talk about that on podcast though?
What?
How I killed you?
In
You got
real
a
life?
ban?
Oh
No.
yeah, that's funny. I think we talked about it because we did that and then we like rolled right into this, didn't we?
Oh, I
Oh,
was
did we?
streaming. I was
Oh,
streaming
you
when
were
that happened
streaming.
too.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, I was
By
streaming
the
when that
way,
happened too.
last thing on crypto, I did the math. If the market goes up back to where it was, my portfolio will be about $8,500.
Kind of crispy.
That's like a down payment on a house, Ron, or a new car.
Yeah,
Fucking
car.
A.
But yeah, I'm really
God
happy with
damn.
that. And that's just back up to where it was doing good today. So like
That's like a
May
down payment.
tariffs
on
So
shit.
over.
Ron, follow-up question: if I suck your dick, can I have $8,000?
no.
Fuck. I
Follow
This
did
is
try.
the
follow-up
long-term
question.
portfolio. This is the 8K that's gonna bring me to $1 million. Okay.
If I suck your
Follow-up.
toes,
Follow-up question: if I suck Jordan's toes while you suck his toes,
I know you see it.
No.
we could just have
No,
a
that-
three-way toe sesh real quick, and I
How
can
does
get
that?
that.
No,
I'm
how does
sorry,
that work?
I'm not one of the
We
Asian
human
carp
centipede the
that you
toes.
would
Like
put
I
your
put your
foot
toes in
next
my
to
mouth,
where it eats
you
the
put
dead
Ron's
skin
toes
off
in
the
your mouth,
feet. No,
and Ron
thank
puts
you.
my toes in his mouth, and then we just go about our day.
This is gross.
We just give a little flop about the ground, you know,
I feel
just a
dirty.
little bit of. You should feel dirty.
I don't want
You
to.
should very much feel dirty. So this is how we get the $8,000 from Ron Jordan, or should we just
Okay.
kill him now? Should we just kill
Okay.
him now? We might
No,
have to
hear me
just
out.
murder Ron.
Hear me out. We take out a life insurance policy on him.
Mm.
Okay, right? Ron pays for it. We off him.
The easiest way to replace Ron too is like on the podcast. We have to do what he did the one day when his
What?
fucking
What is that?
This
Is
is
that Trust Wallet?
yeah.
fucking the easiest way to replace Ron in the podcast. So is all we have to do is like, you know what he did the one day when his phone died, and we just like
Oh,
hitbox.
Yeah, the
dude.
video.
Yeah,
We just played
Yeah,
a
we
video,
just played-
dude.
yeah. We're just gonna play a video of like so.
Hear me
Next
out.
episode, Ron's gonna
Easy.
be dead.
Easy dub.
Yeah.
We take Kaya. She buzzes her hair.
No.
She replaces Ron on the podcast.
She gets a sex change.
Changes her name legally to Ron Raz.
Oh, she doesn't have the
Yup.
butt chin like I do.
She
She
gets
could get
plastic
that
surgery.
surgically- Yeah, added.
What
All right, so
about-
we're gonna kill Ron. Pay
about
for
Okay.
jawline?
with Ron's portfolio. We pay for Kaya's sex change and plastic surgery.
How much money is gonna be left over? I just
None
realized.
at all.
None really. You'll lose out on all of it.
But we'll get very popular on this podcast.
Well, and she doesn't know how to use my computer, so
No, because we'll teach her. We'll teach her. This
How?
is important for
You-
us.
you don't-
because
you don't
Ron,
understand
okay,
this.
hear me.
So
No, okay, hear me out.
Podcast will get big because
We
have a
take
trans person
multiple
on the
life
podcast.
insurance policies out on him. Ron takes a video showing how to use his PC and how to mine Ethereum, because obviously that's really important.
yeah.
And then we all smooch.
How about this? If you take me out, Kaya gets like $250,000 because of our life insurance policy.
Wait.
Uh,
If I take you out on a date, I get $250,000.
Yeah, just treat me to
would-
some Olive Garden.
I would
And
take
they'll
you out
just
for
pay it
free,
out.
bro.
Wait,
You think if we called them up and we were like, listen,
called who up?
this is Kaya.
Olive
I am a
Garden?
widow because homie took out my
Wait,
man.
who are we calling?
The life insurance company.
Oh, okay. 'Cause you
Wait,
said,
Olive
what if we call
Garden.
them up?
Yeah.
Are we
I was like, wait,
Listen, I have a
Olive Garden?
dirty job for you. You're gonna kill this guy. You'll put something in his wine or beer.
That's a great idea. So the hitman will be at Olive Garden.
I'm sure there's a dishwasher at Olive Garden that'll kill someone
Yes.
for $50.
I mean,
Probably.
honestly, like that's me.
No,
at
it'll be like
Culver's. I
that-
fucking killed someone
It'll be
for
like that
$60
B-dubs
an ounce of weed.
where they mixed the chemicals and they made mustard gas,
Oh,
and the manager
that was
died.
a thing that was hung up on our door at work for like fucking a year. I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
because you mixed bleach and ammonia.
Yeah, and they like killed like what, a couple employees there or
No,
something.
it was just the one, right? I thought it was just like
Wait,
one
okay.
person.
To give the audience context, so there was a Buffalo Wild Wings in what state was it? Was it Wisconsin or was it Illinois? I want to say it was Illinois. Well, it was a Buffalo Wild Wings in the United States of America,
Somewhere.
in somewhere, and some manager was killed because an employee mixed like bleach with ammonia and created mustard gas,
So
and it
you
just
know,
gassed
so you
out
know
the
the one
entire
thing
restaurant.
that there's warning labels all over the fucking bottle not to do, and like everyone knows don't pee in bleach because there's ammonia in pee. You know all the very basic stuff that you don't do. So
As a Buffalo Wild Wings employee, I've never heard of that.
you're a Buffalo Wild Wings employee?
No, I'm role playing as the person who killed
Oh,
everybody in the
oh right, okay,
restaurant.
yeah. We can roleplay. We can roleplay.
Hold on, let me piss in the.
All right. Hello,
Oh,
I
so I
am
was
your
just.
common sense. Don't mix the cleaning chemicals.
Wait, you said piss in the bleach?
Yes.
And cut.
To our listeners, I'm mixing
And
cashews and Coca-Cola.
What?
Ron just
Wait,
snorted a
what?
line of
Why?
cocaine.
Now I am on ammonium oxide and I'm going to die. I work at Buffalo Wild Wings. This has been.
That's a thing? Wait, that's a
What?
thing?
No,
Wait, what'd you do?
no. I was doing
Oh,
those in
I was like-
place of bleach.
I thought that you said that Coca-Cola and cashews made
No.
some sort of deadly.
Yeah, I was like,
You
okay,
believe that?
here I am making fun of people for being stupid, and there's like some weird like way to die that I didn't
No.
know about.
If anything, it would be
let me talk
like
about
the
this real
banana
quick.
Sprite challenge where you
Doesn't
throw
that just
up.
make you throw up though?
Yeah. It
Okay,
wouldn't
And I
kill
did
you.
that before. I did it because I was at work and they were like, do it. And I was like, I don't fucking care. I'll go home early. And
Yeah.
I did it, and you're like, no, you got to do it faster. So I guess shoving the banana down my
You have
face
to
and then
chug
doing
it.
the
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been getting more into plants recently. Like I know, like I've showed you guys my lavender plant
yeah,
and
we
my
see it at
aloe
the
plant.
back.
No, shut the fuck up. So my lavender plant that I showed you guys a while ago died.
Right.
Actually, like no, it's yes, it's right there. So I actually had to toss it, but I've been getting like herbs recently, like to like cook more.
Did
So
they
I
die
bought
too?
mint. No, I've actually been keeping those good. So like lavender's
Okay.
only supposed to be watered like once every like 2 weeks to 3 weeks, and I watered it every day, and I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to water it every day,
And
I
it didn't
overwatered it
die?
and killed. No, it died pretty. It died pretty
It
quickly.
drowned.
But I learned not to do that, and I have a mint, oregano, and rosemary, as well as a little bamboo and another lavender to start over. And that one's also dying. But I think it's just I have bad luck with lavender. But I found out that rosemary you can overdose on. You can actually
Wait.
overdose on rosemary.
Why did I feel like I knew that?
Another spice that can mess you up is
Nutmeg.
nutmeg. Yeah.
Nutmeg's a disassociative. It's like DMX. It's like if you take 30 Benadryl at once and you'll just disassociate. If you
So I have a
Well,
question.
also it messes with your brain, and you basically also have a seizure, and it
That's called
messes you up in some other
dissociation.
ways.
That's not fun
Okay,
at all.
druggie, listen here. I'm using normie terms. Okay, I didn't know
Wait,
what
wait. So hold on.
disassociated meant.
I have a question though.
Okay.
So if it's that easy to die, why do people when they're feeling suicidal and edgy, do they take a whole bottle of pills instead of just snorting a whole fucking line of like nutmeg?
You need a lot.
Nutmeg can't kill you. Nutmeg, it can give you seizures, yes, but it's not going to. If you have a heart condition, yes, but it's not going to kill you if you're a totally like normal person in the sense of like no like pre-existing conditions. Rosemary can, for some reason. Rosemary,
How
if
much?
you. Oh fuck, I don't know the exact. It's
For the audience.
It's a fair amount. It's a fair amount, but it's not like you're gonna like smoke a little bit. Well, actually, if you smoke it, you're not gonna get any effect from it. I've learned. Smoking it doesn't do anything. Whereas I get to turn it into an essential oil, but it relieves headaches or whatever, and it also it's good for
Kills
cooking.
you?
Yeah, it's good for cooking, but if you have too much of it, it kills you. Yes.
So
It
it's
can
like
give
here's an
you-
essential oil. It tastes great too, and it fucking kills you.
Mm.
I wrote down because I've been starting to.
All
use it.
right now.
I'm using like my
1999.
herbs for cooking. Oh, I've been wanting to use them for cooking. What did I write down?
When they don't die.
It can give high blood pressure and ulcers. It can induce vomiting, uterine bleeding, kidney inflammation, and it gives you sun sensitivity for some reason. Like it'll make you more sensitive to the sun, most
Yeah.
likely cause cancer. It is and also skin redness and other allergies like that. It's kind of weird. I didn't expect that, and like learning about rosemary because it has a good smell to it and it's good for cooking. But like other than that, I knew nothing about it.
Well, I mean, that's
And
the
it's
great thing about spices is that you don't need a lot of them.
Kill
They
you.
do their
no, that's
part, and they're generally small unless they're like something like scallions or something, which you could kind of consider a spice if you chop it up fine enough. You know,
And
like
you put it in
basically
your
they
soup.
they have a very small part in what you're eating because that's not the main meal.
I have
Also,
enough
I
mint,
looked up.
rosemary, and lavender, and like other herbs that I could like dry them up and put them into like multiple spice bottles to like sell if I really wanted to. That'd just be a longer process, but like I could easily turn this hobby into like a job if I wanted to.
Wouldn't
But
you
it's
need a
just like
lot more room to grow stuff though?
no, honestly, the amount of stuff that it produces if you keep up well enough with like a house plant, you could produce like a couple of bottles worth every harvest, like every season. And if you keep it up in the winter under like a grow light or something, you could potentially keep
UV.
that up like
I
year
guess
round.
the only hard part there would be actually selling it because you'd have to go to like a farmer's market.
Yeah, it's a farmer's market style thing. That's not like a yeah.
No, there's no way you're gonna be like, "Howdy, neighbor, I got some nutmeg. You want some?" Like, they're-
some nutmeg with me, motherfucker.
by the way, I remember watching a medical video on this guy who overdosed on nutmeg because it was a TikTok challenge. And these do sound familiar. It says nutmeg. I don't. It doesn't say the amount, but it can potentially kill you. More likely outcomes include convulsions, palpitations, or nausea. Uh, they also there's a
Okay,
risk.
that's
Some cases,
all right. I
toxic
got
doses
facts.
have caused organ failure. In others, nutmeg overdoses have been linked to deaths used in combinations with other drugs. The organ failure was the big one that I remember because this guy had like the whole freaking thing,
Well,
and he
I
shut
Can I
think I
just
down.
got
say
my
the
facts
way
wrong a
you
bit.
said it, the way you said it made it sound like there was a TikTok challenge where you try to overdose and die on nutmeg.
There basically was.
Oh,
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
mine
yeah.
like
It was like the cinnamon teaspoon challenge, but with nutmeg. And this guy went ham because he wanted all the For You pages
the
or whatever.
views.
I don't understand how TikTok works.
my facts are wrong a bit. I do believe that like I don't believe that anyone can like overdose directly from nutmeg, but if you have like those conditions
I think
already,
that
like if
kid
you're
was
like
trying to prove you wrong because I remember
no,
he had
but like
organ failure and they barely
what I
held on to
believe
him.
though is like if you have pre-existing conditions, like let's say you're epileptic and you do nutmeg, you're most likely gonna have seizures. Most likely if you have like I don't know, like most likely other like mental disabilities, like it's a disassociative drug. It's gonna cause like issues. But like if me or you did it and we did like a normal amount of it, we'd probably be like a little bit wonky, but we'd be fine.
So what if
I
you did more than the normal amount?
I mean, there is like recommendations to not do like the whole bottle, of course, but like
Well, right, but I'm saying like TikTok guy, because did he die?
I think almost. I mean, with organ failure, that's very time precious kind of thing.
it was
And a lot of
also
the times
probably
when you arrive to the ER, they don't have a lot of info, and especially if the person is unconscious, they're relying on whoever found them, and
They look at his phone and they're like,
also,
"This
he's like, hey,
dumbass."
you
what
know,
guys?
yeah. I mean, it's sad, but that's how it is. So like, they'll try to get info from the patient, and a lot of the times, listening to some of these stories, it's like the patient is just stupid, first of all, and then that's not
Like the
always the
Tide
case,
Pod,
but like they're
Tide
stupid to
Pod
talk to.
challenge.
So like they'll be absolutely messed up and they'll wait until like half an hour and they have 15 minutes until they die and then they're finally like the bleach tasted good. They'll be like, "Oh shit, then we know the chemical to fix them with." Like come on,
Okay,
guy,
but
you need to
like
tell
I
me
said,
that
like, to be fair,
sooner.
like some of these like okay, and I hate to say this, but like you can use drugs safely if you know what you're doing and how much to use, and if it's
Like
tested
bleach.
properly. Certain chemicals you shouldn't use, of course, at all, because they are just generally bad
No,
for your
no,
body.
I'm being serious. You can use bleach to disinfect water,
Oh yeah, I mean,
and
I'm
then
not
drink,
surprised.
and then
Survival
drink the
wise,
water.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that you can like use in moderate amounts that won't like cause like detrimental effects to your body. It's just like
Mm.
if you push it, like okay, if you drink too much water, you will either bloat or you can drown, you know that kind of stuff. If
If
you
you
eat too
don't
much
You'd
pee.
meat,
probably
you'll
you'd probably throw up first though,
yeah,
because
you
in the
wouldn't like
military
drown.
they would do drills. I don't know if they still do it. But I had a family member who was in the military, and they would do an exercise where they would literally make them like run in the heat for super long periods of time, and then make them like drink water until they threw up.
Oh,
That's crazy.
rough as shit.
I mean, the most
Yeah.
popular story that some people listening might know is the Wii for a Wii, where this lady drank so much water that she won a Nintendo Wii and she didn't pee, and that's what killed her because she didn't throw up either. So
Sounds like
Wait,
a
wait,
1,000 ways
she
to die
either?
episode.
Wait, well, okay,
because
hold
you
on.
had to hold the
I've never
pee.
heard of this.
You've never heard of
A
Wii
Wii for a Wii?
a Wii?
So
I've
hold on,
never-
Nintendo like sponsored an event to
No,
like
no, it was a radio.
cause
It was a radio
possible.
show.
Oh, okay, cause like, but still, they a prominent sponsor was like, yeah, bladder failure, bladder burst.
Woman
Do that.
dies after water drinking contest. This is in
But she
2007.
fucking died. I thought she lived.
A woman who competed in a radio station contest to see how much water she could drink without going to the bathroom died of water intoxication, the coroner's office said Saturday. She was 28. She was found dead on Friday in her ranch home hours after taking part in the Hold Your Wii for a Wii contest on this radio station. She said to one of the supervisors that she was on her way home and her head was hurting real bad. She was crying, and that was the last that anyone had heard from her. A preliminary investigation found evidence consistent with a water intoxication death, the
shouldn't
coroner
laugh.
said. I'm sorry, but this is such an old story.
Well,
It's
because like,
something.
I mean, honestly, do you remember how hard it was to find a Wii? Like, you had to stand in line for hours
Yeah.
to get one. They were sold out everywhere for like the first
That's literally the cycle
for a while,
every
for like what, a
fucking
month?
console. I swear to God.
And this lady died for one.
Did she,
Arguably,
did she get her Wii?
I think
I
so.
hate
I
to
don't know.
interrupt
I'm still
because-
reading.
I need to
They
bring up
buried
the
it with her. They were
So-
like, "Here's your Wii Sports."
They put it at the grave of her. They're like,
You know how like people. you
wait,
know
what if
how
like in the
people will
casket
go like
they have like
go to
the
the go to the
catastrophic
gravestones and like leave little offerings. They put the fucking they put the Wii down. Bro.
No. It wouldn't even be the
No,
Wii.
what
It would
if
be
her
8
gravestone was a
ounce
Wii?
water
Like,
bottles.
hey, bro, here's Smash Bros. Brawl. It
You
just
know,
came out.
Well, that's a little expensive for this lady. You got to be cheap and stay true to the story. So you're just gonna buy 8 ounce bottles of water and
Oh,
use those
fuck.
as like a flower bouquet. Just
pour one out for her.
yeah, just pour a water bottle
So-
out for her.
I hate to interrupt this topic, but I was just showing a picture that before, like, you know how you saw Brittany was giving me the nuggets. So we hadn't touched those nuggets at all, and she sent me a video right after she opened them, and somebody had already taken a bite out of them. And
All
I
of
ate
them?
No, out of one of them. It was like a bite. And the picture, it was definitely a bite. And
Tasty,
we
tasty.
ate. I ate all my nuggets at least, and I'm kind of sad because like
You
my
might have
nuggets were-
AIDS.
Yeah, I got AIDS. All right, the podcast is titled "Noah Gets AIDS."
No,
Also,
No, it
just to
gets
wrap
AIDS.
up the Wii for the Wii story, apparently her family was awarded $16.5 million
That's a lot of wheeze.
by a
That's a lot of
California judge. Of course, it's California. It's either California, Florida, or I mean,
Florida.
California or
and
Florida.
Is it
Some
because
people
Disney
in
World's
Florida
there?
too.
Basically,
Disney World is based in there?
yes, Disney attracts the crackheads. I don't understand.
Disney does attract crackheads. I'd
Well,
say
and then
that
the
for sure.
ideas that the crackheads come with, because these radio hosts, I'm assuming, weren't doing crack on most days.
Most days.
No states.
So, but the ideas come to mind because that's the environment you're in. You got people on the street with syringes doing crack, running by you, screaming. You tend to think of crazy things because you got a crazy
remember-
audience. So,
Do you remember? Was like, dude, I don't want to work. I didn't want to be in Florida anymore. One, like, I didn't like the work. I didn't like the smell. I tried dating this girl and she had fucking heroin needles in her purse.
well, and he was talking about the construction job he was working, and he was saying like, "Bro, I cannot understand these people." Like the one guy I was working with was like, "Bro, I was just going down there, bro, and I want something to drink, over here." And it was like, it's like, it was just like I could not do it, bro. It was bad, and that's so funny.
Oh,
yeah. This
I
Florida
got an
story
order.
just
I
gets
got a cake order today. I think I sent
Sent
you
a
a picture,
picture,
but I
yeah.
got a cake order today, and this lady was like, I was okay. I'm like, what's the name on the order? And she's like, Sweat. And I was like, one more time, and she said, Sweat. I was like, can you spell it? I'm like, I have to be hearing her wrong. And she's like, SW, and I was like, oh no. She's like EA. I was like, oh god. She's like T. And I was like, sweat with 2 T's. She said yes. And I was like, okay. So I gotta fucking.
Sweaty. You should have just called
Can you imagine if like the dude's name was like Harry? It was like Harry Sweat.
Oh man.
Oh no.
Oh,
Or his name was like Armin.
Arm
She
and
didn't tell
Hammer.
me. She didn't tell me the first name. She
Arm
said the
Sweat.
last name will be Sweat. I was
Very
like,
nice.
okay,
Oh,
Sweat.
Interesting.
That's a very appetizing last name. Kind of like Noah's Nuggets.
Was there anything else
Eaten.
that we would like to talk about that we had already
Specifically?
mentioned
Oh.
before?
Oh shoot, what organization was it? I think it was either a government or an organization realized the value, and it was in the article that I saw, the value, quote unquote, of psilocybin for depression therapy, and it's like a breakthrough in that they don't know why they've never done this before, and I think it's just like
What's
crazy.
psilocybin?
Magic mushrooms.
Oh, okay.
Magic mushroom psilocybin. It's an antidepressant, anti-anxiety, and it's a lot of other things mixed into one mushroom that they can extract the chemical from, and they can turn it into other things, like other little like sub-chemicals, of course, too. There's a lot of different properties that
So
they
is it
don't
just straight up
use.
shrooms, or is there like a what do you call it? Like a variation of that they're specifically targeting?
Psilocybin itself, I believe there's most strains that come from like these mushrooms. I have to look it up. I believe that psilocybin is in all psilocybe mushrooms. I can't remember if it's genus or I don't remember my scientific terms. I'm sorry, but I don't remember like the biological ladder that it has. Like
That's fine
genus,
because I
phylum.
wouldn't have
I
any
can't
idea
apply
what you're
that to
talking about
anything, so
anyway.
you're good.
Yeah, I just remember like in science there was like genus, phylum, kingdom, class, or whatever. I just don't
Yeah.
remember like the order of it, and I don't remember what this is. But like all of these mushrooms do have psilocybin, and then I believe there's other plants that also produce psilocybin, but there's also other psychedelic plants that are like very similar. Like DMT, like I said, has one molecule off from psilocybin, so that's also under the same study. But stuff like LSD is not like as similar because LSD, I honestly don't like acids that much. Unpopular opinion. It
Really?
makes you stay up 18 hours, and then it makes you like well, you're tripping for 18 hours, and then you're up for like another like 8 more because like either it's daytime now and you have to go about your day, or like you just can't sleep anyway. And like usually I work all of my come downs like at Culver's, so like it's just like not a good time. Whereas like psilocybin makes you go right to sleep. It's a calming thing. So like not every psychedelic is beneficial and like this kind of stuff. So it's not like I'm praising all drugs or whatever. But psilocybin itself has been. I think I saved the article. I have to look it up. Ron, do you think you could look up like I can't remember what it is though. There was like I don't know if it was the CDA or the FDA. It was some government thing.
CDA.
No,
CDC
CDC.
maybe?
CDC, sorry, not
Center
CDA.
for Disease Control.
I meant
Probably
FDA. I meant
probably FDA.
FDA. Yeah. It was something like that that like confirmed or like they were like, "Oh, it's like a breakthrough. We don't know why we haven't studied this before." So they're starting to like really federally test this kind of stuff on like people. And I believe we're going to go through a psychedelic
That
renaissance.
just sounds scary. They're testing this on people.
I don't know. I just think it's crazy. I'm in a lot of like subreddits for psychedelics, and I think a couple months ago I saw a shop pop up in Canada, right by the border of America, that has it's a strictly psilocybin dispensary. And then
And
I've
that's
also
legal?
seen, yeah, it's completely legal, recreational, 21 years old,
I
and
guess I
California
guess
has
you can
had
probably do Oregon too, right? Oregon's like they're like
Oregon's decriminalized. I don't know if they've legalized, but I know that California and Colorado, you can. I think there's certain dispensaries that sell like medicinal mushrooms. Like you have to have like a license to buy them. Like they're way behind the counter type stuff. But like I don't know, it's kind of crazy stuff. Like it's becoming more and more legal as like a medicinal type thing. It's kind of bridging the gap between essential oils and science essentially. Because like a lot of people
Can you
through
say
like
that
magic
again?
mushrooms
Essential
in that.
oils for
Well, okay, so a
most
lot of people
fucking
throw. What are we saying? Sorry.
just essential oils is literally snake oils. I'm sorry.
I know. Okay, I get that, but some of them, like, okay, a lot of people throw magic mushrooms in that sphere of like, oh,
Right,
and
and
that
maybe that's stupid because that's actually a drug, whether or not it's on a federal one list or whatever, who cares?
yeah,
People who
exactly.
buy into oils though and do all that oily stuff, like uh, it's so ironic because it's actually snake oil. I think it's so stupid.
Well, I mean, I think if you're
But
using it for it
it
smells
depends on
nice.
what it is.
Get a
Like,
candle. You
okay,
don't need a
certain things
subscription. You don't gotta pay all these
that
wacky people on Etsy. Like
the
Jesus,
best
I
thing
hate
about
essential
candles,
oils.
Ron, certain candles are essential oils and they actually have medicinal properties that work while they're
Well,
burning.
then it's a
The
candle, and you're
weirdest
not
thing,
into all this
I've
weird
actually recently
swipey
like
oily crap.
researched essentially oils stuff, and it's really weird because like with the plants that I've gotten, the herbs that I've gotten, a lot of people are like, oh, you have to make it into an oil and you rub it on your skin and it'll get rid of your eczema. It works like it's basically the same
I'm just gonna buy something from
ingredients,
Walmart for eczema.
but it's the same ingredients that will be in there anyway. Like you
Is it
might
more
as well like
expensive though?
no, it's cheaper because you buy like a $5 plant
Right,
and
but
it'll produce as
convenience.
much more as you want than like buying a bottle
Convenience
that's
is
packaged.
king. Look at
Yeah,
DoorDash.
say convenient, or freaking McDonald's or any fast food. There's a certain value for people's time.
I guess like
So I
that's why
guess
like
like
people turn into a
if
hobby
for
though.
you that would be like good, but for
Yeah,
like
like
me
if
Yeah,
it's
it
that
makes
like
doesn't
sense for
want to take
you.
care of a
Yeah, for
plant,
people who are already into it.
yeah, if people aren't into plants, I get that. Like that's the
mm.
only reason why I've gotten into it. Like I'm not gonna be going in around and being like, oh, like buy this essential oil because it's gonna solve all of your cancer problems. Like no, like it's not gonna
Yeah,
cure
like
you. Like
I
you
don't
have to go to
I
a
don't
doctor
care
to
about
like,
essential
get it.
oils. Like
Like,
if you want to use them, sure, but like
but that's
I
why I'm
think
saying that it
the
bridges the
people
gap
that say
between
like,
science.
"Oh, well, I'll never get sick because I snort essential oils," like that's where I'm kind of like drawing a little bit of a line. Or like,
But like
I had cancer, but now I'm cured.
there
Okay, you want to talk
but
about some sketchy
a lot of
medicine
people
stuff?
fail to admit that there are mild at best medicinal properties in these plants. Like
I
it's not
think
gonna
the
cure your
reason
wounds.
people don't talk about that is because
They don't want to seem
overall, like if it's 5% positive and 95% just trying to get your money scheme and you just go crazy about oils, like that 5% doesn't make up for the fact that that's just it's not worth it compared to what's already
I
out
mean,
there that can
okay,
already
but we're
solve
not talking about
problems.
like making money off it. I'm talking about like the fact that like there are in these plants like certain genuine medical properties. Like, okay, and there's also negative ones as well. Like rosemary can cause high blood pressure, whereas lavender is known to have a very like headache relieving
I
scent
was gonna say
that
something
like
I
if
forgot.
you rub like the oil under your nose, it's like ibuprofen essentially. It'll
Oh
just
no,
like
that's what I was saying. I was like, I'm definitely willing to give it at as much as it has been scientifically studied and proven. But like the people that say it does all this
oh yeah, no,
when it's
that's
like people
extreme.
that give it more than it does is what gets annoying.
That's like when it gets into magic-y stuff,
Yeah.
which is like obviously not like scientific, of course, at all. But that's what I mean by saying like if you prove that psilocybin magic mushrooms is like the link in the cure to like depression, essentially, that's like the biggest like that's a huge breakthrough because depression is something that drags like besides cancer, that's one of like the hugest leading causes of death because like suicide is a huge thing. Like people just like don't seem to understand that like depression can kill and like that kind of shit is very important to society that like
Mm.
you don't want to kill yourself of course, and I'd say that mushrooms has like saved people I know. It's like helped me a lot through certain struggles, and I'm not saying it's like the key to life, but like as I've said before in this podcast, it can help you like get yourself off your feet, brush yourself off, and like maybe like give you like it's like the tutorial, the beginning, like to help you learn how to do life again essentially. And it's like I
Like
don't
the
know, it's just like
reset button.
it's like a natural reset.
Mm.
It's very refreshing. I feel refreshed the next morning. I don't have like a headache like I just did a whole bunch of booze or whatever. I don't have like I don't feel like the numbness of like Xanax because that's an anti-anxiety. I don't feel like I'm not remembering my days. Like I like to remember my days and make them feel great. And the best like side effect about psilocybin is like the visuals because like it makes you like look at the world in a more positive outlook. It's just a
Mm.
lot more different than like people understand. Like for people that aren't depressed, it's not something to easily grasp because like for a person like me who's been depressed, the world can look gray at times, like completely just like you don't see the color in life. And I remember the first time I did LSD, I remember the color returned to my life, and I was like, this is crazy. Like everything is like magical again and like real again, and it was weird.
Mm.
And like, I'm not saying do it every day, but I'm saying that it is beneficial to society in certain ways.
I don't
And it
want to
I
also
like
think with things
hamper
with
what you're
those,
saying, but like I haven't been clinically depressed, but I feel like it's true to a point that everyone goes through depression at some point in their life, whether or not they go and actually get that like prescribed or whatever. You go through hard times, and I don't know, from a personal standpoint, I do see the value in things like that to an extent, but also there's something like deeper in not having any. I would view those as crutches, and like I said, I'm not trying to like poke at what you're saying, but I think that there's something better about doing it yourself and progressing as a person. I don't know, and just not trying to use something as a substitute or something. I don't know. I
I
do you
guess
see what I'm
though
saying?
a lot of people can't get through life without like literally needing a medicine. A lot of literal kids are prescribed Adderall at the age of like 10.
mm,
Like is that good for society? I don't believe that like big pharma should be in control of these little kids' lives. Like, and I'm not saying like take mushrooms an early age either. I'm saying like therapy, like maybe like find a lot of better ways to deal with it than like, all right, here's a drug. Like there's a lot of better ways to deal with like ADHD, a lot of better ways to deal with like anxiety, depression. But like if you really can't deal with it, it's a great reset. Just like, SSRIs like Lexapro. I was prescribed Lexapro. I took it a couple times. I'm not a big fan of, like I said, big pharma drugs. I did recently throw it away because like I just don't like taking drugs that much. And I've even dimmed down the weed because like you said, Ron, it is a crutch, and I will give you that. It's not like I'm not saying that it is not a crutch in society or life at all. It's just like some people do need that crutch to stand up sometimes, like I said. Like if
so
you get
Right. It just
depression,
to your point, just to kind of, because I see where Ron's coming from, but also I think there's a lot that kind of what am I trying to say? Oh my gosh, there's a lot that goes into why someone can feel depressed at any given time, and a lot that goes into like why people are diagnosed with ADHD, ADD. A lot of that's like the failing of our school system. Kids don't like to sit down for fucking 8 hours, and in a fucking classroom that's lit up with blue fucking lights.
there's a
Like,
lot
but
of ways to fix these issues
right,
than
and
drugs, for sure.
so like kind of what Ron's saying, I do think that there is a lot of value in pushing through struggles kind of yourself, but also if someone's at a point where like they there's not much else they can do, or they're at a point where like they're so unstable that they kind of need like sort of like a boost or a booster shot, if you will. I think, and we don't know because they're still testing it, but if psilocybin or something like that is shown to be have the same effect or even a better effect, I would rather have something like that than slapping pills at kids,
yeah. Well,
um,
and also
or people in general.
if the case there is, it's handled like something in the hospital where it's very brief and it's a recovery phase type thing, or it's not a prescription. Because look, unless they're going through like some kind of severe pain or something physically or whatever, it should be. I don't know. I think crazy hard drugs or drugs that alter your perception of reality to the point where you're actually seeing things or feeling things and all that. It's not good for development
Long term.
long term at all, realistically. And maybe there are benefits here or there, and that's why I think if that could alter the course of people's lives to where they don't have to take all these pills constantly, I can
Mm-hmm.
see the use case there. It's just I could see it very easily going either way, where people realize the money to be made, um, and
I
it
guess
divulges into something that's
I,
almost like
I
subscription prescription based or
I can make a
overused.
couple points to that. So, of course, like, yes, I know that it can definitely get big pharma. Like, anything can get big anything, of course. Like, that's how capitalistic systems like this work. It's gonna become, like, an issue at some point. And that's why I want to have, like, the means to be able to grow it myself, be self sufficient. Like, just like marijuana, just like other, like, drugs that I feel like are necessary to like help me stay mentally afloat. And a lot of people, and I don't mean to get super deep in this, but like if and I can relate to this kind of like heavily, if some people have such a deep rooted issues that stem back to like very deep in their childhood, not just like, oh, I'm depressed because my grades are bad. Oh, I'm depressed because my childhood was kind of like traumatic in a lot of different ways. Like it's like
Mm.
some people can't just undo their depression in a couple of days. It's gonna take
I would
years,
argue most people
decades.
don't
Most people don't what?
get rid of depression in a couple days.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. But like, kind of like how it sounded was like, oh, like maybe like in a recovery, like they'll have it like for a few days.
I'm
Like
saying
I
usage
don't
should be sparse and only if actually needed at a severe level.
right, but like a lot of people, if what I'm trying to get at is a lot of people in society are at that severe level, and they're being prescribed drugs that numb the thing and not deal with it. Whereas mushrooms kind of bring the issues to the surface to help you deal with them, and that's why like okay, with acid is the same way with the issues bringing to deal with you. That's why you're awake for so long and it forces you to be introspective. Whereas mushrooms, like they also force you to be introspective, but it helps you like it resets your body in a way like if it gets rid of your sinuses. Like I don't know, it clears your sinuses really well. It makes you feel really refreshed. You feel great in the morning, and you also deal with like stuff with yourself. You're like I don't know, it just like pushes you in the right direction. And I'm not saying use it every day, like I said, but a lot of things have been tested with microdosing, using small amounts, like a small cap a day, like 10 milligram or sorry, micrograms. Is it? No, that's acid. I think it's 10 yeah, 10 milligrams of like psilocybin a day or so is like great. It's like every other day, I believe. And like I don't know, you don't have to take like an eighth of mushrooms and see God every day. Like that's not like what we're trying to do.
I
We're
think
actually
his
trying to
point is like
move away from the
when
bigger
you
dose.
can get to a point where you're naturally self-sufficient, it's more freeing to yourself as an individual and also just better long term because and that can and not just
This doesn't just
and
apply
to
to the
say that
drug you're
just
talking about.
drugs too. There's a lot that can be applied to.
Yeah.
Like I know for some people it's food, right? Like they eat their feelings.
Mhm.
So like and I don't want to pin down just that because obviously it's not just that. But in anything,
Everyone has their issues and
when you
their
use something
spectrum.
to bring you happiness and it doesn't come from within, it's not usually sustainable. And I think it can kind of inhibit your ability to problem solve and create your own happiness because like if you're at a point where you're like, oh, I'm sad, I have to do this in order to feel happy,
Or to
it'll kind
forget.
of create
That's the thing though. That's the
right.
thing is like I feel like with me, I haven't actually used a psychedelic in almost a year now. Like I'm
Mhm.
coming up on close to like I feel like I I'm not like, extremely a happy person, but I'm like working on it and I'm not gonna like use mushrooms. Like I feel like these drugs like have I've used them enough to know like, oh, hey, I don't need drugs to like,
Mhm.
give me happiness. And I'm not like I still smoke marijuana. I'm not like getting high every night. I'm just like chilling here, like and I'll smoke with my friends is like a mutual thing. Like it's not like a I need it type thing. And I probably should stop and I've been very slowly whittling my way down. It is an addiction type thing. You have to deal with that kind of stuff to get rid of it. But like with psilocybin, I haven't necessarily needed it, and it's not like a need in life. It's not like oh, I need this to be happy. I've
Oh
gotten
no,
like
and
the tools.
I don't mean you personally, but
Oh
I
no,
mean
I'm
like there's
saying
some
like
people
with
that
this
they have
drug,
those addictive personalities where it's like they have something and then they begin
that's
to rely on it more and more.
psychedelics are really
Well,
really hard to be
the
reliant on
thing
though because they're so
I think
rough. They
that
put you through
Jordan
the
is
ringer.
getting
Like
at
you're up for so
is
long,
that
and you just
regardless,
don't understand how like it pushes you through so much, and you don't understand. Like you guys haven't like taken it, so you don't understand
Are
like
there
how much
people who
mental
use it
trauma
frequently?
it in the microdose sense is like how they're going to be using it medicinally, like how like the government plans on doing it. But
Mhm.
like as with me, I've tried that and I don't like that as much because like it feels like you're using it to feel happy and I don't want that. So I've taken like a few bigger doses and I've like gotten the tools that I feel like I need to live through life happily now. Like the tools that I feel like I didn't get properly from my childhood growing up. And I feel like I've worked through my issues enough to where like I can go through life steadily without like having these major hiccups of like, oh, I'm having a huge anxiety attack. I have to call in for a week now at work. Like I've had those issues before, of course. And
um
like
I think the point more so that Jordan was getting at is regardless of what we're talking about, whether it's an activity, something you consume, or even a thought process. Really, there's a known path that you can take mentally to get yourself to the point where you're reluctant or reliant on a certain thing, whether that's an action or something you consume or whatever. And that makes sense, and I agree with that if that's what you're trying to say, Jordan. But the other point I was trying to make is I'm not even necessarily talking about psychedelics, and I know that that's what you keep going back to. But in a medical sense, I don't like the idea of overprescribing or getting people on something like morphine and then just not weaning them off and all these other things. Like, these are issues for people in a social concept or way to think of it, but also in a practicing sense, over prescription of drugs or over usage
And
or
that's what
just
I'm worried
all
about.
of this
Yeah.
kind of stuff has actually, in terms of like, I think, I forget, is it, which one is it? They can create super bugs. So basically, overusage can cause things to develop faster that would take things
That's
down.
in an immune sense, though.
It
I
is,
guess
and
what I'm trying
that
to
is
get at though
different,
is
but
like
that's
a
just
lot
an
of these.
example of an issue where it's not necessarily thought of because it's not at the forefront.
I
There's a lot
guess
of things that can come from, being a little too liberal with certain things, not thinking about long-term consequences.
I guess though, like a lot of these things have been thought about for literal centuries because like psilocybin has been used up until like when was it that they outlawed? They had a big was it the 70s? I think when they started outlawing psychedelics, they were very legal and very easily to get up until recently for religious purposes and a lot of other reasons until very recently in terms of history, as it's been used very much throughout history for a long time. Acid, not so much because that was synthesized in the 30s, but like psilocybin itself has been shown in throughout history for centuries, and
Right.
so now it's just been made illegal by
No,
America,
I
and then the world
understand
followed
that.
suit a little bit. But like now it's being studied again, and now it's being shown to have these properties, and it's not that it's going to be like, it's supposed to like kind of replace these opiates in like a way of like mental health wise. It doesn't show like it has like very little signs of like pain relief and that kind of stuff, so it might not like replace pain relievers, but there's a lot of other medicinal ways to like
The
other ways to do that as well.
I
But like in the sense of why I keep bringing up psychedelics is because the answer to all the things that you're bringing up is like it's supposed to replace these bad drugs and it's supposed to be like less use and they're going to be working on weaning them off as well. It's not going to be like heroin
look,
where
I'm
they
As
give
not
long
you
as
like
saying
the
morphine
no
in
as
a
to
long
any
as
of
the
hospital.
end
those.
goal as
But
long as the end goal isn't over prescription, because I think right
Yeah,
now in
the end
America,
goal.
or maybe even kind of like modern society, we have a habit of over prescribing things, which is why you've had like this crazy like
The end goal
flare
is
up of
treating it like alcohol. The end goal is treating psilocybin like alcohol. It's gonna be like a recreational type thing because of how like safe it is, how like, but it's gonna be
alcohol
like
is not safe.
it,
I would like
but
to throw
okay,
that out there.
That's very
There's a
true.
lot of
But
death
I
and
guess
okay,
before we
accidents.
it's
get
gonna be
into the
treated like
recreational
marijuana then.
sense, I would
A
just
better way
like
to put it
to
is gonna be treated
say
like marijuana. It's gonna be in a dispensary behind a counter. You can't go up to like you can't just go into a gas station and buy it. It's gonna be treated like, you're gonna have to maybe either be like a certain age or you're gonna have to have a certain license to buy it, like a medical card. But like it's gonna be treated in a way like where you're not gonna have to go to like the hospital. But it's gonna be like a mental health type thing.
Mm.
How like in certain states, like I think like before weed was recreational in Michigan in like 2018 is when it was made recreational. Before that it was medical, so you had to be if you were 16 and
You gotta
up, you
have a
could get a
green
medical
card,
card.
right?
Yeah, you'd have to get a green card. But like you could only get like certain things. You couldn't get like the variety that you have now with recreational because it's like more of a capitalistic thing now. It's like alcohol. Like everyone's buying into it now, and
um
that's what psilocybin is going to become. It's like that.
all that I wanted to say before, like, if you want to talk about that in a recreational sense, I'm not saying that you're wrong in any of that stuff. We're making separate points. My point is just that you have to be cautious with this sort of thing in the sense that we've known about it for a long time and it's been used. This is all that's normal for the course of something to develop and evolve over time as we understand things better. And that kind of coincides with how we learned how to fly. I mean, people have been jumping off of things as long as we can record human history, and not until like 1,000 years ago did anyone successfully jump off of a fatal building and survive, because they figured out that air functions in a way that works like a parachute. And then you had people do hot air
Gliders.
balloons, which was like a candle lantern that flew away. And after that, there was non-powered flight, and then there's powered flight, and then the 1900s hit, and then there was a boom, and now we're where we're at now. And in the sense that our understanding and knowledge of it, we knew that it was a thing, and that it's there, and that animals do it, and it's great, and we have knowledge of it for a long ass time. And then some developments are made, and things speed up, and it's kind of exponential. But the developments have to be made to have proof of concept, because the things that were holding stuff back, like flight or other technological developments, was just the technology of the time. And I know that's different with drugs. That's not what drugs are dependent on necessarily in terms of what we know, although it could be, depending on how you study these sort of things. I mean, powered flight was restricted by the fact that there wasn't a light enough combustion engine at the time until the Wright brothers put it on their plane. So I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying, as the crow flies, things are going to have to be a progressional, cautious tale of getting there. And
I don't think Noah's saying
I know he's
not.
not.
I
just think, like,
I guess
in
like,
order for this
like,
to be a popular thought, people have to think critically about these sort of things. And in order to get there, I understand more studies have to happen. It's just, it's kind of like with the market or anything in life. I like to keep my predictions low. Expectations low. So I'll be.
Oh, Mike.
Oh, we can't hear you, Ron. We can't hear you, Ron.
Mike, we
Ron,
can't hear you.
Ron, we can't hear you.
Rod.
Hello. I like to be a skeptic on
There we
things.
go.
Keep your expectations low, so that if they are better, great. If they're not, you already saw it coming and you were already prepared for that outcome. So
I guess
look,
though, like, the crazy thing is the research
I don't
has
want to
been
say
there.
something and then have you
It's
like
like
explain
in
it
the
like I was
19
saying
like,
you're wrong, because that's not what I'm
70s
saying.
or 60s, when like hippies were a thing, and they're like, oh well, hippies are deadbeat scum that, like, you know, oh they're gonna. But the worst part is, like, the reason that they outlawed this is because they genuinely thought that, like, humans were going to, or like the people that were using it were going to overcome the government. You know what MK Ultra is?
Yes.
The
I mean,
LSD
I've never
experiments on
claimed
the homeless
that the
people.
government is very smart. Have you heard of Operation Fast and Furious, where we gave the cartel in Mexico guns and then never got them back because the
Right.
ATF
That's
is
what I'm
stupid?
saying. I'm not saying that they're smart.
Yeah.
I'm saying that, like, the government literally was like, okay, well, LSD has. Well, actually, they were smart on this one because they found out that LSD has telepathic abilities. Like, you can actually telepathically communicate with people, and those studies have been revealed and shown and proven. And but MK Ultra was like also what like got LSD outlawed, if I'm not mistaken. There's a lot of different factors what got it outlawed, but I'm pretty sure that they thought that like hippies were what were going to be like the downfall of America, because like that's what like we were going towards, was like the lack of a capitalistic system. Everyone was like just free. Everyone was just doing their own thing, like self-sufficient type stuff. Like kind of like what I'm going sort of towards. It's like just living off the grid, not supporting like the taxes that the government wants you to pay. Like if I live,
Wasn't MK Ultra the main purpose of that was to be used as like a an interrogation tool?
it was gonna you were going to be able to read the mind of them. Yes. You were going to be able to literally read the mind of what they were thinking. And you were going to be able to like telepathically like hear their thoughts or some shit like that. I believe they were trying to use that as a tool for sleeper agents. And they were just gonna like memorize information and then like be put back to like in like hypnosis and then taken
Yeah.
back. And like technically it was proven to be true, but like all these studies have been thrown out and destroyed. And psilocybin was legal. It was able to, like, you could have bought, like, okay, you were able to buy so many fucking psychedelic drugs in a store or just like anywhere, and now you can't because it's so illegal. In a smoke shop, like, you guys know like the smoke shop, like the one that me and you go to, Ron.
Might want
Of
to
the
bleep that.
Yeah, I'm gonna
just
bleep
for
that for
editor
sure.
to know his note.
You know that
But yeah.
spot where that sniper's waiting to kill us?
But yeah, like the smoke shop there. I'm sure if it was legal, they'd be selling DMT right now because
Well, yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is like smoke shops and head shops like that used to sell DMT, salvia. They'd sell other sages, other smokable things that you could just like legally smoke to get high from. And they'd like sell those things, but now they're illegal because the government keeps on like restricting what all plants you can feel in your body type thing. And a lot of these things aren't even like stuff that would make you like, feel pain, like overdose, die, do anything crazy. It's just like you're having like realizations, like introspective stuff. Like some people use it bad, but a lot of it can be used for good. And that's like the point that I'm trying to get at. Is like the studies have been there. It's just the government has kind of trashed them, had them thrown out, and just like stuff like that. And I'm not trying to like bash what you're saying, Ron. Like I get what you're saying too. Like it's not gonna be like pushed upon everybody, because like not everyone. Like I'm not saying that you or Jordan are gonna need psilocybin because like you guys don't seem like overly like depressed your whole life type people. Like I don't know. It's not like for everybody. Not everybody needs it. It's just like the certain people that
I don't think you're
need that
saying that either.
crutch.
No,
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
think
I'm
so.
saying that the people that have that need that crutch, that necessary boost to make themselves like feel good inside. Because like I will say, there's not a lot of days where I feel like extremely a-okay inside. It's just like how it is though. Like you just have to push through it. And like yes, like I get what you guys are saying. It's more satisfying to do it without a drug. Like I get that because that's
Not
not the point that
necessarily
I'm at
more
now.
satisfying, but it's more sustainable.
And
Yes, it's like more
honestly, I
sustainable.
think
Like
it builds more character in a sense that um, you are the master of all things you, and you're not, and this is just like a way of thinking about life realistically, where I, I just have a way of thinking where it's like I don't necessarily take help, I guess, from the outside. I like to make sure I can do everything that I know I need to do and should do, and I make it, I don't know, a priority to think and have a mentality that keeps my standards to myself high. And I'm not saying that people who take drugs or need these sort of things for certain issues don't. I'm just saying from a standpoint where in my life I've seen a lot of crazy shit. Okay, it's not like, I mean, from where I am now and what I've seen in my life, I could easily have turned out a lot of ways. But I don't know. I think in life in general, mentality is more important, and mental fortitude is more important than is generally thought of. You
I
know,
guess though, like
you
not
I don't
everybody
think you
takes
could
the
ask
same
most
steps that you
people.
do in life, because like not everybody turns out the exact same way, and some people like aren't gonna have like the exact same steps to like get there. Sometimes they need that extra step, that extra crutch that will give them that realization of, oh, I just need to like treat myself good. It's not like, oh, I need to be giving myself all these drugs. I need to be giving myself all these like bad people in life. Like a lot of these things are just to like get yourself to this level of self realization that you need to like better yourself and not like use other things to get you there. Like you have to do it for yourself.
And I'm
And I'm not.
totally there as long as it's not you constantly need it to stay there. Because if you
Oh yeah.
constantly need it to stay there, it kind of goes what I was saying is like sustainability, and kind of like what you're into, right? Like if you're hungry, I have to go to the store.
Mhm.
If you're hungry, the way you're going, you're self-sustainable,
And
right? And to be in a part in a spot like that mentally is super important.
the best
And
part is a lot
I
of the
don't think that
subjects
only
that
comes from within though, Ron. I think I think a lot of that, and kind of what you were saying is like you're trying to rely on yourself more. I've actually been trying to rely on other people more
Hmm.
I was
recently
gonna
because
say, my
there's a lot of times where I don't know it all. I don't know everything, and
I'm
I'm
not
not
claiming
strong
that
enough
I do
to
or that that's my
overcome
mentality, and
everything.
I don't think you're saying that. I guess I just want to clarify that. I mean, if I need help, like if I actually need help, I'll seek it out for whatever.
So
I'm not afraid to talk to
for
people.
clarification, is your what you're saying first step? I have to try myself.
Yeah.
That's your
Well, and
first step. Okay.
also, you know, if you're more observant than most people, then you don't need to learn by fumbling. You can learn from example, and if you
Mhm.
have a memory that serves you well, and you can understand how things function between people or within problems, you can kind of get this handbook to life without needing to go through the tough times, especially
guess
seeing a lot of family members and other things happen in life. I'm not saying that I wouldn't ask for help when I need it, but I am saying step one, yeah, try to do it yourself.
Okay, that's all
Try
I
to
wanted to
build that
clarify.
character and mentality, because that is what will get you further in life
Further.
than asking first.
What about like in like the terms of like, okay, I get like the not like asking people because like maybe you can solve it yourself, but like I've always been like, I think in Jordan's shoes of like relying on other people. Like I feel like, you know, like if I like am in the need of like having like a panic attack or whatever, and I feel like I can't solve this problem by myself, I'll go to somebody else and be like, hey, like I don't know what to do in this
So
situation.
that's what
Can
we
you at least
just
give me
clarified. So,
verbal
so
advice?
we're all on the same page.
Yeah, we're all on
So
the
what
same
he was
page.
saying is,
Yeah,
if you can't do it yourself, get help.
right. But
So I
like
think we're all on the same page.
Right.
I guess I default that as like my first step then, because like my default
Is
is
to
just
get
me
help.
doing it myself. My
Oh,
default is
okay.
doing it
Okay.
myself. So like I don't need like a first step there, because like usually I won't have a problem, because like myself I don't feel like I'll like, I don't know, like
Yeah.
if I can't do it myself, then like that's like the problem. Then like I have like that person that I'll go to, and that's usually like my first step, I guess, is what I consider.
Sorry. By first step, we mean the very first action. So if
Yes,
Right.
you
the
have a
first act.
problem, very first action is, I'm gonna try to do it myself. Right? That's
Yeah,
first.
Yeah.
yeah,
And then
and
if you
And
can't,
to
the next thing
sharpen
you do is
the
get help.
point that I'm making, to be more specific, um, I think most people try to do it themselves first and then ask for help if needed. But to sharpen my point, I guess the more you prioritize and realize that taking action and staying true to your word or doing things yourself takes a higher priority mentally for me first, because if you do find yourself, I don't know, it's just a good mentality to have and remember, because it's like I said, it
It's more
builds character.
sustainable.
And the example I think of when it comes to these sort of things is like, let's say you have an alcoholic family member or something like that. You can help them as much as you can, and you can tell them you love them as much as you can and everything else. And that will only go so far. Ultimately, the decision in the end is up to them. And if early on in life you prioritize being a person who focuses on being the leader or problem solver, or having a strong mental fortitude and self dignity, self worth, having these things as pillars, and just thinking about them, because I think most people, if you ask them, will say, yeah, well, those are good things to have, but just thinking about them, or I don't know, just having that be more of a focusing point in your life will help you, I think, long term avoid things where it comes down to, like, let's say I were to become an alcoholic. I think, or I would just avoid it entirely, because my mindset there from very early on has built up that mental fortitude. And do you see what I'm saying? It's hard to put to words without thinking
right,
about it
but not everybody
beforehand.
takes the same steps though. It's like the thing is like not
No,
everybody has the same
and I
like,
understand that. Like I said,
step.
I said most people would say that these are good things to think about and stuff, but the steps they take to get there might take longer, might be shorter. I just think they're good priorities and a good way to structure your life. Morally speaking, if you don't have any kind of like religious philosophy, or just any philosophy that you prioritize frequently, because
The
I
best
think
part
if
is a lot of people think that like religious people did these like every Sunday they'd be doing these kind of drugs. Like for like a religious purpose, like be burning like sage, like salvia. They'd be burning that kind of stuff, or they'd be like burning like DMT-esque drugs like acacia, like the burning bush theory. The acacia bush produces DMT, and they believe, what is it? Moses saw fucking just they saw God because they had DMT, and he was just inhaling it. So
I
like a
I
lot of these
mean,
like theories come down to like
I understand those
psychedelics
theories
in a
and
way.
stuff, but my point there is just, if you struggle to have a moral understanding of where you stand, and you're not basing it on something else, regardless of whether or not they get those morals or philosophies on drugs. If you struggle to do that, or you're not religious or whatever, or you're not philosophical, it's just important to think about these things and know where you're at before you encounter problems. So I'm not trying to talk about drugs or anything, at least in that sense.
I don't know, like a lot of people like have like they find their like inner peace in a lot of different ways. Like there's a kid that we recently like that I started working with again because Ron doesn't work at Culver's anymore. I've been training him a bit and I was training him on how to like the grill and whatever. And the grill, as like Jordan and I and Ron will know, like is an easy one to talk on. So we were just having a very easy, like simple conversation at first about music, and I was like, okay, like what's your music like? And he just started like, getting really deep about like psychedelic stuff, but he wasn't like it wasn't like he had taken psychedelics, but he was talking in like a sense like how I talk sometimes, like really weird like high shit. But he doesn't smoke weed. He's never taken a psychedelic in his life. He meditated, and he got a psychedelic breakthrough on meditation. And there's a lot of different ways that you can reach your inner peace and inner happiness. And I feel like there's a lot of ways to reach that. And like a lot of people find their different ways and their different motives. Like Ron said, like he has like his ways of like, just like having his morals, and like you're religious as well. Like religion is a good way for certain people. I'm not personally religious, and I have my own moral set of ways to like get things. And I feel like I always feel like yes, drugs aren't an option, but when we think about it, there's caffeine, that's a drug. There's nicotine, that's a drug. There's a lot of different things that are drugs.
Right.
These
That's what
fucking
I was saying
what I'm
earlier. Is
going
like
right
as
here is a
long as
drug
you're not
too.
using it as a crutch.
Exactly. And like but like some people, like I said, do need that crutch as well to like get themselves up, but as long as it's like just a crutch for a
Sorry,
limited amount of time.
not a. Let's say a
Uh
crutch is fine. A
what
short-term
is it?
crutch, not
Like a
a very
catalyst?
long-term
As long as it's not
crutch.
their like catalyst to their downfall. Like
Right.
send them to like another deeper, darker place. But like that's why I think like it's a positive thing with these things because they're really not addictive. Like I've been put through the fucking like ringer on psychedelics to where like I don't want to do them anymore because I don't feel like I need them. It's just like I'll do them again one day. Like it's like okay, they're very like group bonding as well, and I've been wanting to do it with my friend. We've been talking about doing a group shroom trip for a while. Those are really great for group bonding as well as like just like group therapy. It's like a lot of people do that as well, but like I don't know. I'm all for like medicine that helps you that's like safe and herbal and like self-sustainable because like I want to be able to grow it on my fucking farm that I'm gonna own in the middle of nowhere. And that's just all I really want to say. I'm not like
You know
trying to
that
yeah.
the mission in Far Cry or whatever.
I
Yeah,
never
I've
played
never
it.
played it, but like it's like pretty infamous, I guess. Where like in Far Cry, you have to burn down a weed farm or
Mm.
something,
There's
and it's pretty funny.
There's the Far Cry 5, I believe, the one where you're like against that religious guy, that really uber religious guy. If you know who I'm talking about, I don't know his name.
Um, one where they're in like the South, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I
Okay.
think I
This
know. I
is
think I know what you're talking
that
about.
game is why I had to actually stop going to church because the main bad guy looked like my priest,
A little weird.
and I
That's
was like, all
funny.
right, dude, I'm gonna
And
get
you're like,
kidnapped.
wait a minute, wait a minute.
But like, I actually know what mission you're talking about. Well, I think there's a mission similar to this in this game, but it's like there's some sort of like flower that produces some like disassociative that like makes you just see like fucking it makes you like schizophrenic essentially. And like I don't know. You have to like burn down a field of that and you like go crazy, I
Maybe that's
remember.
what I'm thinking of. I don't know what I'm thinking. I thought it was
There's
Far Cry. I could be
that
going
that
crazy.
flower has a lot of instances in that game, but I know like Far Cry has a lot of like drug references of course. So like
I have no idea. Have you ever seen like just speaking of drugs and then schizophrenia, have you ever seen like drawings done by people with schizophrenia?
Mm.
They're
You want to talk about
terrifying.
art with where the artist is mentally not there or mentally handicapped? You should look up. There's some artists who later in
I'll do it
life
right now. I'll do
got
it right now.
dementia or were diagnosed or whatever. And some of them, there's one specifically, I don't remember the name because that's
Damn
not
it.
what I'm good at remembering. He when he was diagnosed and he was still mostly there, he set out to paint either a painting a day, the same painting for the rest of his life, or it was like a painting a week or something like that. I think it was every day. And seeing the progression in what he drew, where at first there was a clear object and you could see the fine details and
You said it was dementia?
dementia or Alzheimer. But anyways, you could see detail and stuff in the I can't say his name, but he's a UK based artist. diagnosed and suffering from Alzheimer's disease in 95 and passed away in 07. His last works are a rare testimony to the inner life of a patient suffering from the disease, documenting the gradual decay of his mind. Yeah. So
Would it be possible for you to put the first image and the last image in like the chat or something, or maybe even pull them
Just
up?
like pull it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say
Oh,
because
there's an ad. That's a
I
picture.
love ads.
So the progression here is hard to see, but you can see his face. But these might be good pictures. I think this was earlier on. Oh, it was a self-portrait. That's what it was. So I think these were early on. And then if you scroll down towards some of the last photos or drawings,
That's like
they're
that's
gone.
That's
you can see
terrifying.
where it starts, and
Because
where
like
you
when
go.
you think of dementia or Alzheimer's, you usually just think of like, oh, your memory's kind of going and you're like kind of like losing your mind. But a lot of times it's like memory. At least people that it's always like memory related.
Yeah.
Right. So like to see that, like, I don't know how to describe it, the complete breakdown of your own reality.
Well, and it's a self-portrait.
Personified. Right. That's
So
terrifying.
is that like him just not knowing what he looks like anymore?
Well, it's him disassociating with everything. You know, you sit down, you tell someone like that, you know, what they're doing or whatever, and they start. And especially with something like drawing, where it comes so naturally once you know what you're doing. And you don't even have to verbalize or think necessarily once you get to a certain level of what you're doing. It just kind of flows out. That's why this is so, like, I guess haunting is a word for it with this disease specifically, because, you know, you sit down and you're like, I'm going to draw a self-portrait. Maybe I can't draw that well, but I know what my face looks like, whatever. Like, you'll understand if I say it's a self-portrait. Even you can't even apply that here. And, you know, like, if I remember from what I read or saw,
I got chills.
Yeah. Like, you know, he would start and then get lost or do something else or
retry
just yeah. And then his last one there's a coffee stain there even. So, like, yeah, it's just really sad, but
It's really sad.
to get like context on someone's like the inner mechanism of what's going on and where they're at in life versus
not even knowing
early on.
Members, favorite locations. You just don't even remember people's names.
You don't even remember yourself.
Yeah, it's
right.
sad.
You look in the mirror and you're like, "Who's that?"
I guess
that's terrifying.
Like, round this episode out on a happier note. On the opposite end of this, there was a man with autism that was flown around New York City in a helicopter for an 8-minute
I heard
flight.
about this. Yeah,
and he drew like a 15-foot like wall painting. Ron, if you could pull that
from memory, right?
Right. Yeah, I just wanted to show real briefly the progress. So this is like the 60s. Yeah. I think this was late 90s and so on and so forth. And you can really see it start around here.
Dude, that third one from the last is like a freaking sleep paralysis demon.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Well, this wasn't even the last one. You guys saw the other one. But yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of fucking crazy, though. Like, just going through that horrible mental deterioration, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awful.
But, Ron, do you want to pull up that 15-foot painting? I don't know. It's like, just like search up New York
skyline autism flight. From memory.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Without sounding insensitive. Fucking retard.
I'm just using hotkeys.
Yes, there it is. That was really cool. What was it, like an 8-minute flight or something? And this kid was like, he's like an autistic 20-something, or was he a teenager? And he was 18 foot, sorry. But he was like a young guy, and he was flown around New York, and he had like a really good photographic memory to where he drew it. Like, I believe it's exactly accurate to like the city like scape. Like he got like every street right there and everything. Like if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but like I believe it was accurate down to a T because of how good his photographic memory was.
That's terrifying.
I could
Not
be wrong.
terrifying
After he
bad, but
spent
like
20
terrifyingly
minutes.
cool.
It's like
Oh wait,
astonishing.
ad block.
Disable ad blocker to read this article.
All right, forgive the ads. 20 minutes, 18-foot drawing. Unbelievably. Oh my god, this is why I have ad
Oh
blocker.
Jesus Christ, it's everywhere.
When you need all of your RAM to load a single fucking
Yeah.
web page.
Details of every building sketched into scale. Landmarks, including the Empire State Building and the Chrysler Building, can be seen towering above smaller buildings after just 3 days in his spellbinding creation. Listening intently to his iPod throughout the process because music helps him. Graphic pens as he commits his photographic memory to the higher grade paper.
How cool.
Yeah,
That's
that is pretty
insane.
cool.
I thought that was really insane.
That is really cool.
Just because of like how accurate he was
Mhm.
down to like a T on a large scale picture like that for such how short of a flight it was as well.
Going through up to 12 pens, sketches, which can take a week to finish. Also draws heavily on music.
I'll probably say it like a drug. He draws heavily, always on music.
So
Yeah.
I feel like I could bring back up like the human. Well, I could bring up the human mind a bit. I feel like the human mind is insanely capable of doing things that
Oh,
we
yeah.
don't understand,
Oh
and we
yeah.
can't capacitate because like these people are just classified as, excuse me, but like retarded because that's how people.
Well, they're called
classify them.
savants when there's some sort of thing that we can't understand how they process information or put information out. Like there's
It's kind of like
But
a.
most of these things are like when people have like autism or
well,
like
yeah,
Down syndrome people have
but
like a
specifically what you're
higher average
talking about
IQ
is
than
a savant.
Down syndrome people have like a higher average IQ than people like you and me, pretty much. As far as average IQ than like me and you, they're like pretty smart, but like they're just like because of their speech impediment and how they look, they're just classified as mentally disabled type thing.
Well, that can come down to like. You guys have heard like people that lose the ability to see or whatever have another sense heightened. I wonder if that's the same idea where like they can't, their brain doesn't function either at all or very well in some respects, and so it kind of just gets
I
like
wonder if you just mess with people's
hardwired.
chromosomes. Like, what if we just took away like 6 of our chromosomes and see what happens? Like,
We
I
would
feel like
die.
genuinely.
I mean, I don't know.
You can be the guinea pig for that. I will
Come on,
pass, and I'm
Noah.
sure most
All
other
right, here,
people
let me
will.
do 6 brain cells real quick. Hold on.
No, chromosomes, not brain cells.
They're one and the
Fuck
same for Noah.
Yeah, that's true actually.
Noah has 6 of each. Chromosomes and brain cells.
Wow.
We
That's
look
very
like
true.
we're at
How
an
long
hour
have
and
we
a
been?
half,
Oh,
by
it's
the way.
12:30. I was say.
Because
We
I
should
might have
probably
been
wrap it
recording
up.
10 minutes before, so.
Yeah, I'm at an hour 39. That was a pretty good one though. But yeah, we can really round it out. I just wanted to round it on a positive note, not
Sure,
like
go
a
ahead. All you.
Alzheimer's. No, I didn't want to round it out on the Alzheimer's.
Oh.
That's why I brought up the autistic drawing guy.
Okay, yeah.
But,
I
like,
mean,
that was pretty much
they both are little nuggets of information that will make your brain think when you hear stories about that. You know, they're both a perspective, and they both deal with art. So those are pretty cool stories.
One
I
on
mean, the one
two
is
totally
sad.
different ends of the spectrum, though.
Right. The one is sad,
Yeah.
but it's
In an
still
interesting
very
way, though.
intriguing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll probably talk about crypto, electric vehicles, and drugs in the next episode. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.